Hi, I'm Ann Reed, and I'm an instructional designer at the Graduate School of Education here at the University of Buffalo. And I'm calling Ann Perlman, who is an instructional designer at SUNY Brockport. And we're about to discuss approaches that we take when helping instructors develop a new course or refresh an existing course. I guess the first question I wanted to ask you was, just where do you start when assisting a faculty member in developing a course or refreshing an existing course? What are the very first things that you do?
One of the methods that we use is backwards design. And so faculty will come in and we'll look at and we'll discuss, their overarching learning goals and outcomes for the class. And then we spend time, looking at, what do students need to know and be able to do when they leave the course. So you have to consider, for example, the types of assessments that they're doing. So whether they're problem solving, critical thinking, essay, whatever it is, students should be able to, through their teaching methods and strategies, should be able to, at the end, through their assignments, apply their learning. So that's the first thing we want to look at. The other thing is we want to look at developing assessments to meet the goals. So you really want to take a look at, does this assessment I'm using really meet the goal?
Sometimes I see courses that are a little bit disjointed in that there are pieces that are really strong, but there's not a strong connection between like the course content and the assessments, for example, or the course doesn't seem cohesive. How would you define cohesiveness in a course, and what are the benefits of a cohesive course?
So I think, many times we see courses that are really structured in a very linear format where each week there's a goal and then an outcome and a goal and outcome. And like you said, they don't seem to relate to each other. So I think the student doesn't get the benefit of seeing the big picture. How do these things, what do they mean? What do all these things mean? So I think if we take a more holistic approach and we center the goal, if you look at a mind map and you center the goal and all of the objectives and outcomes are coming off of the goal. I teach an intro to video course, and I've taught for many years. And each week, there are certain goals we have, certain things we want to meet. I can teach them how to use a camera, I can teach them how to use a microphone, and I can teach them how to use lighting. But I think the thing is, so they walk away knowing these things. But if I take the center goal and say, I'm going to teach them how to develop a story. And so from that center goal, from that outcome, I can do things such as the research of storytelling, what it means to be a storyteller. I can do things, then I look at what it means to be a team and how to manage the projects and things. And then you start teaching the technology. So if you look at it, in the end, their goal was to produce something, tell a story. So they've done it and they've learned all the essential outcomes that were necessary and they could walk away with from that one center goal.
You make a good point that we need to help the students to see the big picture. That will enable us to create a more holistic course that really makes sense to a student. I'm an adjunct faculty member here at UB, and I know that you're an adjunct as well. So at the end of a semester, I like to evaluate what went well and maybe what needed some improvement. And I like to focus on one area at a time so I don't get overwhelmed and make some small changes to improve the course. I'm wondering if you have a strategy, if you do something similar.
I can give a small example. I did have one of the things, as I talked about earlier in the video production, I was noticing that we did have to teach students lighting. And like I said, I always put everything into a purpose. So I was building them up to create a presentation, and I wanted to make sure that they understood all the lighting. And I noticed, even though I had all the readings, we had all the support materials, that they still didn't get it. So what I started to do was I added in a small assignment. And what they had to do was they had to take a picture of the setup and define everything for me, define everything that was in the shot with the lighting. Now I know, did they get it?
Thank you. That's a great example. Thank you for sharing. Well, I'm so glad that I called you, and I hope that our conversation will help other instructional designers and faculty members that are developing courses or refreshing their courses, and I hope to see you soon.